speak the other night. We tore down the house. A good Richard Crowell lecture.
That's right.
But what we're going to do today is we're going to give my rendition of the history of melanin. And so we're just going to throw in a whole bunch of things, make it interesting. So the history of melanin is going to go like melanin. It's going to be like chaos, which means is whatever comes up, comes up. Because I started trying to record the amount of names in ancient scripture and the amount of things that I could find on the planet, the names on the planet which would mean melanin, and it came up with about 300 different names. We don't have that to do tonight, but that means there's a lot of information on this. First of all, we'll say that in actuality, that the ancient study of melanin is called alchemy. It's called alchemy, which in a nutshell, they say the study of stones, the study of stones, particles in the body, study of particles in the universe. All that is comprised of alchemy, but all of that also is condensed down to one primordial form and is inside of us. And the melanin that's inside of us is the highest form in the universe. It is always the primal point. Even the Bible starts off with the atom or the seed. So that is the highest. It's not the other way around. It is the most primal point. It's called the Haddock point in Thelemic information, also in Kamite knowledge. You got it on? Mm-hmm. Straight? Yeah. It's called the Haddock point. So what we're going to do is we're going to get into different variations of this particular thing. And to start off, we need to give you a history of the beginning. In the beginning, there was, in some scriptures, they say there was death in the Upanishads. In the Hebrew scriptures, they say in the beginning there was darkness or chaos. In Kemet, they call it the primordial waters of chaos or primordial waters of noon. Or in other ones, they call it Nut. The goddess Kali in India is a form of that melanin. The goddess Tiamat is supposed to be in Babylonia, which is Tiamat Isis, which would be in Kemet, Egypt. The story goes that Tiamat, the great mother, or Tiamat, which means land of Mayat, Ty means land, the great mother, Tiamat, who existed in heaven before creation. And in heaven before creation, you had this primordial realm of the divine feminine that was later on, after millions and millions and billions of years, replaced by her children as she fell asleep, or she went into remission, or she went into, an intermission. The younger forces of the universe took over. And when they took over, which is basically an offspring of her children, but not as old as her, which means that there was not as adult as her, when they took over, in so many words, we'll give you the mythological part and we'll break down the scientific part. They defeated Tiamat, and they used her blood, the triple blackness of space, as Elijah Muhammad says, to make humans. By using her blood to make humans, this is the mystery of what was her blood. It wasn't red. It wasn't the blood we see in the body, which is very dark until it hits air. Her blood was that primordial cosmic carbon substance. 666. 6 protons, 6 electrons, 6 neutrons, carbon. Akash, which means black substance. Akasha. You get the word Akashic records, which means melanin. Her blood was this primordial water, a primordial substance, which was like a mercurial water, a black liquid water that was destroyed. The liquid water separated from it caused the ocean, and the other blackness is in space and in man, which he has a cosmic thirst and a need for water, or liquids. So melanin is the God particle of the Great Mother. It is what is called something that is left behind. Our world is built on several other primordial worlds that existed before creation. Those worlds that existed before creation is the realm of the Great Mother, or it is the realm of Tiamat, which now exists in something left behind in us, black people. That something left behind in us, black people, is melanin, also called Damians. Melanin is the origin of all what you are taught as evil. One of the greatest mysteries in the world. Everything that the Bible teaches you as evil is melanin. They say, don't mess with sorcery. Sorcery is alchemy. Damians, demons. The word Damien comes from the word Amen. The word Amen and Amen means hidden. And Amen-Ra is the hidden God, which is melanin. You get the word Amen, you get the word Amen, you get the word Damien, then you get the word demon. So the word demon means melanin. So this Damianic substance is something that is left behind. It's one of the great mysteries. We'll go back into that in a few minutes. In the beginning there was chaos. Melanin is chaos. Something that never stops moving. It is called rasa in ancient India. And this rasa is always in a process of change. And change is the order of chaos. It is always in the order of creating a new reality. And when it is stifled and put in a box, it stops creating. And then it gets stronger, and then it destroys. So, in whole movie made from it, whole book made from it. Book was put out supposedly released in 1963, but they held it up to be released in 1965, 100 years after the Emancipation Proclamation. And that book was written by Frank Herbert. Frank Herbert studied Henry Corbin, who was a great Sufi scholar. He studied Arabic, and he studied the ancient arts of alchemy. And he wrote the book Dune. And Dune is all about what is called spice. And spice, they say time travel is the most precious thing in the universe. Time travel is needed for it. Space travel is needed for it. needed for. This spice is the most precious substance in the universe that is on one desert planet called Doom that is guarded by an ancient people called the Fremen, who are an oppressed people. You put two and two together, it's all talking about us. Spice is produced by a worm, the worm of Arrakis. That worm also represents the primordial mother in us called the Kundalini energy, or the primordial snake. That snake, wormwood. This spice is called melange. When you look at the word melange in the American Standard Dictionary, what I think the name of that one, and also in Encyclopedia Britannica, and it says it's an elixir. That means that it has its roots in alchemy. So this whole movie is about melanin. The book put out in 1965, the movie put out in 1984, and the last movie put out December of 2000, which was 6 hours. So in the beginning there was chaos, which is also the great dragon of chaos. So anytime you hear the word the great dragon, that means the great mother. And that dragon, which is the celestial ship of the north, as above, so below, the great dragon of chaos. And that particular dragon is in actuality the goddess Tiamat, or the goddess Nut. Nut, the triple blackness of space, the great dragon. But it's also called chaos. What is chaos? Chaos is a state of things which change is supreme. It is an unorganized state of primordial matter before creation. So before you have creation, you have this primordial matter. They call it dark matter. It is a confused state of mass. Chaos was the primal source, first of all. It isn't anarchy, it's chaos. In the beginning there was chaos. Agents of chaos cast a burning glances at everything capable of bearing witness to their condition. One must have chaos in one to give birth to a dancing star. In the core of every star is this carbon substance called melanin. And every man, every woman is a star, the book of the law. It's called a haddock point, which gives rise to the Bendu seed. So, in every star burns a core. And that core in every star is melanin. And the core of every being is melanin that gives birth to the star. So when they say only agents of chaos cast everything on them, one must have chaos in one to give birth to a dancing star. Well, that's the Christ principle within itself, because melanin is called chaos. Even Richard King tells you that in the After-Hours of the Biological Psychiatry. Well, one must have chaos, one must have melanin in it to give birth to a dancing star. A star is the sun, and the sun is the Christ. So the whole Christ story is talking about melanin people. Has nothing to do with some cracker running around 2,000 years ago. Has nothing to do with some Negro running around 2,000 years ago. The Christ is your soul. And the Christ is housed in the triple blackness of space called the dark night of the soul, melanin. And Christ is housed in a shadow. Yea, do I walk through the valley of death? I shall fear the shadow of the valley of death. I shall fear no evil. The shadow is called melanin. You get that in Jungian psychology. So the soul is the Christ. Melanin is the substance that gives birth to the Christ. Because when melanin is compacted together, it makes an explosion into the Christ. You see, it's just like black holes, which is nothing but the ultimate form of carbon. It will take a planet, mash it into, and on the other side, it goes through the black hole, comes out pure light, particles of light. That's what happens to this earth. We're sitting in the middle of a black hole and getting ready to go through the other side, and there's particles of light that's being released. That's being released. Matter is an illusion. The physical is an illusion. You saw the movie The Matrix. Solidity is an illusion. All are illusions. Only chaos is real. So the only thing is real is the melanin that comprises of the seed, or that particle of light called the child, the magical child, which is the soul, which is called, once that melanin is transformed, it crystallizes, and that's called Christos, and Christos is what they call the Christ. One of the original names was called Chrysomelos, or Chrysomelos, or Chrysomelos. You see, they funk that word, they take a word completely out of the English language. These white boys can get together, have an actual conference, and take out of existence several words. A lot of this is left behind in Rosicrucian's document, Chrysomelos, which means black Christ. You see. It's also in Greek, it's called chrysalis, which is another form of the Christ. But Christos, Christos comes through, it has a shadow with it. That shadow is what you call the Antichrist. You know, the shadow of God. If you got a light, you put your hand up here on the wall, you will see a shadow. That is the melanin. That is the ayin. Ayin means nothing. In Hebrew, ayin, then you have Christ. So the ayin means nothing. It's the triple blackness of space, and you have Christ. It's like the yin and the yang. You see what I'm saying? The yin is the melanin. It's called La Ma Yin in the Tibetan Book of the Dead. In the timeless heavens shines the continuous chaos. So this chaos, it should be called chaos melanin, is in fact the substance and the origin of all. That's why in order to manifest the full manifestation, you have to learn not to bow down to nothing, but collect around you images that coincide with you. But never bow down to anything, because you have the primordial seed in you. Your soul is just as old as anything else. We'll go back to that. We'll go into a little bit of history of modern. We go into a little bit of history of modern melanin. Modern melanin. Modern melanin. So we got one of these up here right now, so you know what that means. Okay. We want to go into some history of modern melanin, and then go back to some ancient melanin, but we're going to keep it interesting. You got anything you want to say?
No, I will. I'll.
You conjure up something as
yeah.
we go. Okay, let's go into some history of the modern melanin. The white boys first got introduced into this, other than the alchemical stages, which was left behind by the Moors. The Moors, as you know, the great people traveled up into Europe, set up 16 universities, and taught the European several arts as well as alchemy. But and what happened was the Egyptians was masters of alchemy on the outer level, but their greatest prize was the inner level, to try to cultivate the alchemy of the melanin to become gods. The European, after being taught this in Europe, it was futile. He couldn't become a god, so he focused more on the precious metal or stones trying to turn lead into gold. You see what I'm saying? Which the Egyptians could do. You see what I'm saying? That's why all that gold you see that Tutankhamun and them have, you know, and Ramesses and all that stuff and all, they didn't go out and no thing and have to get that from some type of mountain or gold mine. Yeah, they made that stuff. Because they were the masters of it and they could make that type of fine gold. You see what I'm saying? So there's that fine gold, but there's also gold in the body. You see, which is equated to Jesus. Different types of the golden child, different types of ancient figures. That gold, there's a gold in the body, but they could actually make gold. You see what I'm saying? So they just, you know, they would make gold just to, you know, for funerary purposes as well as everything else. You know, they had plenty of it because it was making. You see, we don't see any other culture that used that amount of gold. You see what I'm saying? That's because they couldn't make gold, so gold was more precious. So the European path after the Moors was to try to make gold. You see what I'm saying? Because the other stuff was futile, it was useless for them trying to make a soul. You see what I'm saying? Or trying to make something of the spirit that substance that didn't linger in them to make anything out of. But the modern search, we want to get into this, the modern drive to try to understand the magical substance that would later on lead to the discovery of what is called melanin, started in the late 1800s. Late 1800s, a guy by the name of Bull Lighton, who wrote a lot of economic books, books on industry, and political books. In the middle of him writing his intellectual books on mundane nothing or whatever, or everyday life, he just up and wrote a book called The Coming Race. And this book was about these beings that will take over and replace man. Using a power called real power. V-R-I-L, real power. Of a real power. That will take over man. They also put it in the movie X-Files, the X-Files movie, where the little boy fell down and was playing in this place, and they fell in this hole, and it was this dark substance, this black substance. That I think killed one of the little boys. But at the end of the movie, they said, what is it? They said, this is something, in so many words, that is going to replace man. That is going to replace man. So he said this race used the power called real power, and one day it would replace man. So Blavatsky, the mystic right out of New York, because Blavatsky was from Russia, but the Theosophical Society was headquartered in also England, but also New York was real key. Blavatsky took up the other interest in this book of the real power. Now, mind you, I'll get into this in a few minutes. Two books came out around the same time. The Coming Race by Bull Lighton, it talked about this ancient people that will retake the earth using this power called real power, and Bram Stoker's Dracula comes out around the same time. Which Bram Stoker wrote it into a play, and the play toured England, and the book also, which is also a connection with this whole thing. The Blood of Dracula. blood of Christ. We'll get into that because that's all a part of it. But this particular book, Blavatsky is commenting on this book. And she said there's a terrible sidereal force to note. And it is named by the Atlanteans as Nashmak and by the Aryan Rishis of their Astar Veda that we do not like to give. Some name that they got in the Astar Veda, which is an ancient Hindu text, a Vedic text. It is the virile power of Bulwer Lytton's book, Coming Race. The coming races of our mankind. The name virile is maybe fiction, but the force itself is in fact dug as little in India as the existence itself of their rishis, since it is mentioned in all of the secret works. It is this vibratory force which, when aimed at an army of an Agni, whatever that was in the Astar Veda, fixed on flying vessels and a balloon, according to the instructions of the Astar Veda, reduced to ashes 100,000 men and their elephants as easy as it would a dead rat. So now we are really on fire here, because we're talking about the same melanin, what they're talking about here. They're calling it virile power, reduced to ashes 100,000 men and their elephants as easy as it would a dead rat. It is allegored in the Vishnu Purana, another Indian text, in Kapaliya, whose glance made mountains of ashes of King Sara's 60,000 sons or armies, in which it is explained in esoteric works called the Kapaliya's Eye. Kapaliya's Eye is also the eye of Heru, the third eye. In the works of the god Shiva that I talked about, the heretic windy clarity, the god Shiva, they said he will destroy the universe with his third eye. That means that the third eye, as we know, is the pineal gland, which is the main fountainhead that produces melanin. And it will be through this same third eye that will destroy the universe. You hear the story of David slew Goliath with a small pebble or stone. That stone is called a philosopher's stone. And the philosopher's stone is the concentration of melanin or the black dot. The philosopher's stone, also called lapis. And lapis lazuli, you'll see it in the Bible in Revelation. But Jung is already parallel lapis with the Christ. Whole section in Psychology and Alchemy, one of his books called The Lapis Christ Parallel. Also in another one of his books called Aeon, where he breaks down the same melanin molecule. Which you have the beehive, which is the melanin molecule. Which you see it's a melanin molecule, the beehive. The bees are connected with the Christ as Dionysus. They talk about the bees. Now the science with that is, one bee by itself is stupid. But when that bee gets together, it makes a swarm. And it makes it intelligent. It is all working for the queen bee. And the African bee is the most intelligent. It will kill your behind once it has the swarm. But one bee out of the swarm, you see what I'm saying, is stupid. Well, the melanin is throughout our central nervous system. But when it comes together, it makes a primordial consciousness. And how do you get it to come together? Through becoming conscious and tapping in. The more you tap in, the more you pay attention to that spirit realm, the more and more it lines up You see. So it's a perfect honeycomb molecule, the melanin molecule. The other molecule is the turtle shell. Same melanin molecule. That's a turtle coat. The turtle shell, melanin molecule. You see. So they slew Goliath with this stone. Now, going on, so the eyes ain't root. This satanic force, there it is again, connected with Satan. Satan is the key. That our generations will be allowed to add to their stock of Antichrist boy toys known as melanite. A dynamite, clockwork, explosive orange, flower baskets, such as other innocent names. It is this destructive energy, melanite, melange, melanin, which once in the hands of a modern e.g. a bloodthirsty Antichrist, will reduce Europe in a few days to a primitive, chaotic state, which no man left alive to tell the tale. There you have it. That's profound. This melanite will produce Europe. You see what I'm saying? To a primitive, chaotic state which will be no man left alive to tell the tale. That's melanin. That's the key to this thing.
Now, this is a novel that is...
It's called A Coming Race. It was a novel called Bull Lightning, but given bibliography, the book that you want to get is a book called The Powers of Real, The Mysteries of the Real Power, by Alex McLeland. Put that on the tape. The Mysteries of the Real Power by Alex McLeland. And in actuality, this statement is actually in that book, what I just read to you. But it's also, he's taking this page from Blavatsky's Secret Doctrines. You see.
Now, are they trying to illuminate the European race as to who the black race is? What was the purpose of writing it, other than just a fictitious?
Okay, this is interesting because this goes right into the history of melanin. Goes right into the history of melanin. Couple of things happened. Late 1700s, Napoleon goes into France. No, goes into Haiti, but goes into Egypt, excuse me. Carts out all this stuff. So a race on to decipher hieroglyphics, which led to Champollion because they got the, what's the tablet?
Rosetta Stone.
Rosetta Stone. Champollion decodes some of it, but it is a black man at the University of Chicago that is the one who translates hieroglyphics. But they just don't give the credit. Here it is again. Got to get a black man who basically just, it's like the movie, here it goes again.
Green Mile.
Green Mile, I just know. You see what I'm saying? He just knew. And he translates the hieroglyphics. It's the same as we got a brother named Yehoshua down in Atlanta. Learned how to speak Hebrew in a week. So now this also shows that script is one of many that came out of the temples of Kemet. Although they said that the whole Hebrew thing, the Torah and all that could be very new, that glyph could be very old. We now know that there's more than just meta, hieratic, and demotic in Kemet. You see what I'm saying? So this guy translates hieroglyphics because he just knew. It's always that stuff. And they've been doing that for years. They always go get a black person when they want something done. You see what I'm saying? When they want something done. So anyway, so that comes out of Kemet. They translate hieroglyphics, so all this stuff is pouring in France, England, America is getting some of this stuff. New York is real big at getting some of this stuff. Chicago, real big for getting some of this stuff. The stuff starts pouring in. Russia. So they're getting, there's a resurgence of learning. So they're interested in all things Egyptian, all things African, and all things Indian, East Indian, because England has already conquered India. So they're interested in all the stuff even in India. You see what I'm saying? So the rush is on, and at this particular time, Blavatsky just came from India, and some people from the Mahatmas came and started teaching the European things. And as a result, they got a resurgence of all this learning that they didn't have since the Moors. So all things esoteric, they started learning a little over 130 years ago. Now, then what they already had all this stuff in the museums in Europe that they had cultivated, left behind by the Moors, and they cultivated that, plus all of the stuff from found stuff from Kemet, then all of the new stuff found stuff from India. All of this stuff put together, you get the birth of the New Age movement, but it all was started from a black man by the name of Pastor Beverly Randolph, who used to be the soothsayer of the spiritual man to Abraham Lincoln. And Blavatsky and all of them stole his works. A lot of stuff is not put out on his one book, Sex Magic, they print, but his biography was put out in 1997 by a state university in New York called Pastor Beverly Randolph, a black man, which is the father of metaphysics. You see. Black man, Pastor Beverly Randolph. You can get the book at East West Books. There's a whole history on this brother. And they just held his stuff, and they just put out his books this year. I mean, late in 1997. Pastor Beverly Randolph. They call P.V. Randolph. You see what I'm saying? So we do have that. He's the father of metaphysics. You see what I'm saying? And from that, Blavatsky and all of those people, they stole his works. And basically opened up the gateway to the West for this esoteric learning. So, in the context, they got the virile energy, or the virile power. They learned about something called occultum. And that was another name. Virile is a name, and occultum is another name. They got a name coming from India called Song. So, the scene shifts to the early 30s with all kind of cult societies in Germany. Just want to get the jump on the cult societies in Britain. And the Thule Society, who was the actual teachers of Adolf Hitler. The Thule Society was the teachers of Adolf Hitler, and Adolf Hitler was a whole occult society. You see what I'm saying? There was a spin-off of the Rosicrucians, who at that time, one of the major teachers of Adolf Hitler was Rudolf Steiner. And Rudolf Steiner's contemporary was H.G. Wells. And Rudolf Steiner, H.G. Wells wrote The Island of Dr. Moreau, explaining the mysteries of the making of the white man. And Rudolf Steiner wrote a book called Atlantis and Lemuria, explaining the making of the white man. But all of these cult societies,
the making
of the white man, yeah.
Maybe you'll talk about that later.
The making of the white man. Yeah, that's an addition. I got to put on every last one of your tapes. That he breaks up when you hear that. But anyway, Adolf Hitler, who basically, there was these societies and stuff like that, and he was not the lone antichrist. Basically, there was a society, and they used him as the scapegoat or the figure to put out in front. And you thinking it's attributed to one man, and it's a whole vast cult society, which was aimed at trying to break the mysteries of occultism, which later on would be called Melanin at Yale University. But trying to break the mysteries of occultism and also trying to create an authentic white race of nobles called the fake Jew, the Israel realists.
Right.
You see. So, this modern history is shaping up. You have the boy, Joseph Mengele, who after 6 years of basically genetic experiments on the Hebrews, why the hell did I say Hebrews? I should get my head cut off. The Jews and the European Jews, because the word Jew means jewel. And the jewel is the stone, and the stone is melanin. So we are the jewels.
Yes, right.
That's why you even get the history of Alpha Phi Alpha. It was started by 7 jewels. You see, the diamond in the rough. You see, so the jewels are the Jews. We are the Jews.
That's right.
The jewels. That's what you know what I'm saying. Which is melanin, the stones, the philosopher's stone. You see. So they start the modern era of trying to find out about this occultism. Also in the concentration camps, as well as cloning. Because the 6 years leading up to 1945, they found out about cloning also. Joseph Mengele is wrestled out of a concentration camp, a POW camp after World War II, and somehow he's taken to Yale University. And then the story goes that he was found, several stories, is found because he's giving them this information. So they're working on things to try to synthesize his papers, Joseph Mengele. But at Yale University, in 1954, they come up with the word they come up with this substance. They actually tap into it. They tap into it in 1954. I want to read this little particular part here. But because the guys who first supposedly had tapped into it was a guy by the name of Aaron Lerner. Aaron Lerner, who was the guy who actually tapped into it. In 1953. It wasn't until they basically completed the information, because he first tapped into it in 1953. They didn't synthesize it to the point where as they had enough knowledge on it and actually enough information on it to name it melanin in 1959. Melanin or melatonin. And so Aaron Lerner found out about it, found that there's a breakthrough, and he immediately went out and got cattle. But it took 2,500 cattle to produce 100 milligrams of dried extract, which is about amount of salt sprinkled on the ear of corn. So that was not enough. But this led to the isolation of melanin in 19 68. Okay. Give you some information on that. Only in very recent times of medical scientists identified a hormone secretion of the pineal gland, finally isolated in 1968. The essence was called melatonin, which means night worker. The Greek word melos means black, and tosos means laborer. Those who have a high melatonin output react strongly against sunlight because it affects the mental capabilities. They are essentially night operatives, nocturnal. Well, some people say, well, I thought that black people were the children of the sun. Yes, the melanin inside of the skin protects us from the sun. Mm-hmm. But we are still night people. You see, we are still night people. Melatonin or melanin is called the hormone of darkness, as it is produced only at night or in the dark. Exposure to excess sunlight actually makes the pineal gland smaller and lessens the spiritual awakeness, whereas darkness and high pineal activity enhances a keen knowledge of the subtle mind while reducing stress factor. So they isolated the gene in 1968. And then the race is on. Because they isolated it, because they say in this book, your body's own natural wonder drug, melatonin, breakthrough discoveries that can help you, by Russell J. Reeder, PhD, and Joe Robinson. It tells you in this particular book that it's only the cows or the bovine that they got it from only gave them enough. That's a tenth of an aspirin. That means that the only way they can get this melatonin or melanin to produce greater amounts, they have to get it from human beings. And in this case, they have to kill human beings. So, to produce the greater amounts of this particular substance. Even in the movie I Come in Peace, they call it endorphins. And they said that 1 ounce will make 1,000 doses. So that means it has to come from humans in order for them to do it. It has to come from humans. So the government says at this particular time we're still on the history of what they're dealing with this stuff. They know about the pineal gland that produces it. It's in all ancient mythology. Up until the modern times, you really only had, people would mention it every now and then, but you really only had one major scholar that would write in an extensive and intensive manner on the pineal gland. Other than Richard King and the black brothers and sisters that came back with it in the Melanin conferences. Before that, in the 60s and the 50s, the only person that would write extensively on it is Hilton Hokema, who wrote the Secrets of Regeneration, The Red Lion, what's some of the other books?
Magic Temple,
Red Dragon, Staff and Caduceus or something like that.
Magic Wand, Secrets of Regeneration,
several books like that. He wrote on it extensively. Other people didn't write on it because they knew at the particular time, after the 1950s, that this stuff did not apply to white people because they have a calcified pineal gland, which means it's atrophied and it doesn't work. So you hear in the Bible, only the circumcised will make it to heaven. Well, women don't have the penis to get circumcised. They already come with a circumcised penis called a clitoris. It's already circumcised. Because the clitoris is the exact shape of the pineal gland in your brain. Same size, everything. You see what I'm saying? It is the exact shape of the pineal gland in the brain, the clitoris. They're the same, like a grain of corn. You see. So, but when they say not being circumcised, they're not talking about circumcised of the penis. They're talking about an uncircumcised penis is an uncircumcised pineal gland amongst people that it don't work. Can't produce the melanin. Only a surface melanin. You see. A small amounts pop up as freckles and throughout the body. They're carbon-based beings, Europeans are. We are carbon beings. They are carbon-based beings. Carbon is melanin. You see.
Carbon base implies that it is only a surface or partial or what?
Yeah, it means it's based off, it's like a mock aspect.
Carbon copy.
Carbon copy. We are carbon beings. They are carbon-based beings. They have a mock nuclei with one ring of consciousness. We have the original nuclei, which is that core of melanin, which is the blueprint. They have a mock. A mock is an imitation. It's a copy, but it's not the original.
Can it do what the original does?
No, a mock can never do what the original does.
So because I can make a copy of a record and it sounds pretty much like the original.
Yes, but does it sound like a band in this room right now throwing down? I mean, it's a copy and it can be good. But does it really sound like the live thing? Yes, we have several recordings that is the best recordings you can get, and with the good systems and all that, you can pretty much. But I have been in nightclubs. I mean, discos where they had the speakers. And I heard some awesome music from records. But I have also been in nightclubs and in concerts where I heard the original thing, and it's two different things.
Yeah, because the original can always create and expand. The copy
That's
only
right.
copy.
It's only a copy. You see what I'm saying? So it is limited.
It's limited.
And the name of melanin is called creative physics. That's in a book called Sign of the Serpent by Mark Balfour. So moving right along, the race is on. They ignored about this melanin, and when they found out about this melanin, they found about the secret of the universe. And that is the secret of the universe. The most precious secret of the universe is this God substance that was around before creation. So when they found out about it, the race was on. The race was on to somehow capture this melanin and work with it for immortality, illumination, and any kind of thing that they wanted to do. And there was only one way they were going to be able to get it after they isolated it from black people in 1968.
The Atlanta Chimers.
No, not only that. The secret societies who started mass multi-apartment dwelling called projects. Started from the Atlanta projects in the early 1900s, which is the oldest projects in the world, John Hope Homes and Techwood Homes. But later on, the mass multi-dwelling apartments in the north, somewhere in the 1950s. You see what I'm saying? From Chicago to New York. These were literally ranches. And ranches and holding tanks are farms to produce mass amounts of black people that they can use as a reserve for this substance later on. They started doing it in a concentrated effort, what we call the project, housing project, long before they even isolated the doggone gene. But after 1953, they knew. Because they knew it in World War II. And the concentration camps in World War II later on became the model for the concentration camps in post-World War II America as housing projects. So the race is on there to produce this particular stuff. The Atlanta child murders with the interferon was another way to really tap into this particular energy. Because there were several things that they could not, they isolated it, but there were several things they could not figure out until after the Atlanta child murders.
No, go ahead.
Now, after the Atlanta child murders, they learned not only how to isolate it, but they learned also how to catch a great deal of its effectiveness. And from the Atlanta child murders, they were able to produce a new substance called crack cocaine with melanin mixed in it into a rock form to give to the black race to make them dependent on it because it bonds with the melanin, to make a jail culture of 14 million black people afterwards, so that they could get more melanin.
Maybe you should tell the source of the 14 million, because I think it was in Newsweek about
It was, yeah.
4 or 5 weeks ago. Maybe touch on that. So
Yeah, the 14 million in Newsweek in October 16th of 2000.
And they're projecting that they would have 14 million blacks. They give the kind of...
No, they said they have 14 million black and Hispanics locked up in jail. Now, first of all, this is the key.
No, they say they will have.
You read it?
Our lifetimes. Yeah, they say they will have.
They said they have 14 million.
Will have.
They did?
They said they will have 14 million in our lifetime. Not that they have over 2 million now.
Oh, that's what it said.
Yeah, that they will have 14 million in our lifetime. So the plan is better.
Well, wait a minute now, because on the beginning of the cover, it says 14 million.
Yeah, but in the article.
Well, see, I'm going to tell you something. See, I know how they do things. When they're saying that projection, they already got it. You see what I'm saying? They already got it.
I think they have 2 million in New York alone.
Yeah. You see what I'm saying? And what I got was 14 million.
I think it's more than that.
Yeah, because I know that we are missing about 20 million people since 1990.
Yeah.
We're missing 20 million.
Yeah. See, this is the key. Jesse Jackson, their boy, who's a government agent, announced in 1988, one day in 1988, in the fall of 1988, he announced that there was about 60 million black people in this country. We never heard it again. Now, in 1975, they announced 25 million. In 1997, they announced 20 million. Now, damn, that means they announced 25 million in 1975. By 1977, 21 years later, we didn't have no babies. But the mystery here is, if you got 60 million, you tell them you got 30 million. That means you can kill off the 30 million and you won't even miss it. And we must understand the fact that the black upward mobile is one of the worst things that could ever happen to black people. All this shit about making it and our fucked up ass materialism is the worst thing that could ever happen to black people, because it isolated the masses of people from the sophisticated elite group that has training to research. But now both groups are vulnerable, because the upward mobile, who can be very analytical, don't live in the community no more in most of America. It's a little bit different here in New York. But the so-called grassroots, there's a separation. And most upward mobile black people now have less interaction with someone in the grassroots than they do white people. And as a result, because they have taken the learned of us outside of the community, they can do what they want to both parties. They can kill off the underclass, and they can kill off thousands of the so-called upper mobile, because we don't have a consensus, and we can't see on both sides of the fence no more, because they have separated. So as a result, they can kill off as many people as they want, because they have isolated anybody who's able to give an account based on a statistical level. And then again, on the other hand, we don't doggone study our own statistics. We don't take our own statistics.
Right.
Statistics is a whole system developed from the early part of the 20th century. It's actually a government within itself. Statistics. We don't survey nothing. So how in the hell would we know how many motherfuckers we got? Through the expression. Got to put that in there on the strong emphasis. How would we know? We are completely subjects. So they can kill off all the million people they want. And it does sound asinine for the simple fact we let another person tell us how many people we are. So they can do what they want.
Bobby, are we a dead people? What is our state?
And very much so. The masses of us, we're not only dead, because the term dead means we live in a time when dead people know more than the people walking around. We're literally zombies. We're literally zombies. We are at our worst state ever, because for some reason the comfort zone has become a drug with us. We'd rather cut off our doggone foot just to save some of that comfort zone. Yet we'll have millions of people murdered. And it says something about a people who want the comfort zone in the middle of the Holocaust. You see what I'm saying? There's only a few people. It's on the movie Dark City. He said every now and then one of us wakes up, and when your eyes are open, you will be troubled. It's in the movie JLK. The guy who was found out. He was investigating the president being killed, played by Kevin Costner, and his wife, played by Amy Irvin. I don't know who Amy Irvin was, whatever. One of the sisters' faces said, "Ooh, you ain't the same no more. You know, you're not the same no more at all," because he was consumed. And he said, "Of course I'm not the same. My eyes are open." And at the time, they had a picture of Martin Luther King crying about his eyes being opened by killing the president, and they had a picture of Martin Luther King on the TV just getting killed. And he said, "You don't think that the thing in 63 got anything to do with the thing in 68? The same murder. I mean, the different murders in 68. You talking about some damn kids. He said, shit, the kids might not even have a damn country to go to. Or a country to be in. You worried about some fucking kids. And you don't tend to the kids no more. The kids might not even have a country to be in. You see what I'm saying? People dropping like flies. But they have produced us down to the comfort zone, so we really are such a savage people, we don't know what's going on.
Savage?
Savage. And I'm not talking about the so-called underclass. When the last time you saw a real underclass? I ain't talking about no homeless, no bum out here. I'm talking about people in poverty. You don't even see them no more. That's a myth now. I'm talking about the doggone educated. I surveyed the educated for the last 5 years. I said, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to go amongst the educated because I'm one of them. So I got a whole circle of doggone, you see what I'm saying, confidants, comrades, you see what I'm saying, and contemporaries that I can go around and I can analyze. And I analyze the so-called black upward mobile educated. And I'm telling you that the substance is not there.
The substance.
The savage that I'm telling you is in the damn educated in the white man's glasses. We talk about all the same goddamn garbage that he talk about. All of a sudden, Bill Gates is a greater conversation than Marcus Garvey. And how much money Puff Daddy got. And who gives a damn if they crucify Puff Daddy tomorrow? Who is Puff Daddy? What warrants a Tupac Shakur to be on every t-shirt in America? But an insane idiot people. But we are reduced. That's a savage. That's a savage. Who is a Puff Daddy? Do we have anybody in the white Jewish race that's identified like a Puff Daddy? Do we know any white Jews that's identified on the same level as a Puff Daddy? You see? And it doesn't matter because he makes $100 million, he's an idiot. You see what I'm saying? You can't learn nothing from a Puff Daddy, so he shouldn't even be a part of your conversation. But this is what the doggone upper mobile was talking about. I heard this the other day, yeah. Puff Daddy made $100 million. All of a sudden, he's worthy to be on a conversation like a Du Bois. You see what I'm saying? So we're rooted in ignorance. I see what the so-called upper mobile talk about. They don't talk about nothing. But whatever little job they got, you see what I'm saying? What 401k plan? I'm tired of hearing this shit. 401k. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Oh, this is a bunch of ignorant stuff. And they can get detailed. They never, ever, ever have a serious conversation about how many niggas are getting killed in Africa. If 75,000 people are dying a month in Africa, and you walking around this thing talking about life is good, you got to be out of your mind. That's Holocaust. 75,000 people. You see?
Every day.
We're talking about, but you know, it's amazing, because this is all based on melanin, because the Rwanda thing was all to kill what? How many people was it? Rwanda, how many people was it?
Well, about a million, close to a million.
Close to a million. What happened to their bodies? Their bodies was nothing but a melatonin war. You best believe the cracker didn't kill no million people and left all that melanin behind. So we're talking about life is not good. 30 years ago, the things that happened in our neighborhoods and things that happen now around the world with black people, we would have been in crisis. You understand what I'm saying? We would have been in crisis. You understand?
You're right.
This is what we're talking about here. It's not good. It's only good. So what we're talking about something that has happened. We're talking about somebody that's come in and literally made a race of zombies.
How did they do that?
Mind control, cloning, materialism, money. That's the key to this shit. Money. That's the key to this shit. That money. So all things and stuff like that. That is the thing right now that our people just can't shake. You're talking about worse than crap. It's money. That money thing, man, it's amazing. And we can say, yeah, it's capitalistic. We done heard it before. It's a capitalistic society, and you got to do this. But other than paying your basics, this drive, this ongoing fixation, you see what I'm saying? It's got us totally gone. You see.
Fixation with materialism.
Materialism.
And when we turn to the spiritual, what we think is spiritualism, it is filtered through generally Christian concepts which do not open us to our spiritual being. And
it's even worse now because of the simple fact that Christian concept has gone now to prosperity, which is the worst thing you can do. Your spiritual aspect is supposed to be something that lifts you up, even if you're a millionaire. This is something supposed to happen. I'm not talking about the advanced metaphysics. I'm just talking about good old religion. That somehow, even in the first 50 years, or the first 60 years of the doggone, the first 60 years of us being out of slavery, we cultivated into a force that was copied around the world. So even that is now going to this whole prosperity thing. And what it does is it also makes for a real stupid person, because it's non-analytical when you think that God will favor you and give you money because you pray to Him. And the reason why other people don't have money because they don't pray to God enough, when we know historically that's all poor people do. Have you ever met a daggone poor black woman that didn't believe in Jesus? So it really is a demeaning of just good common sense. You know what I'm saying? And basic intelligence. You see. So, going right along, the Atlanta child murders, which was really, they needed additional research into melanin, and the Atlanta child murders enabled them to make the crack cocaine by adding the melanin to the crack cocaine, which later on, by doing that, they found out that they could actually make a melatonin pill. After experimenting with the crack, they later on came up with melatonin pills 10 years after the crack cocaine, because the crack cocaine first reared its head in 1983. Small little bouts of people out on the West Coast, but until 1986 when Lenny Bias died, you know, the brother from University of Maryland was going to Boston Celtics and already got drafted and took one puff and died, and they brought, and which they said they killed him, which brought attention to the whole crack thing, which laws was passed on crack by Tip O'Neill and them boys almost a couple of months before the whole country even knew what crack was. Crack was introduced into America as far as our awareness, when Lenny Byers died in somewhat August or July of 1986, the crack program of the laws that would eventually lock thousands of black people up was already passed before the rest of the country was even gripped with the so-called epidemic. And most of the time you pass laws after. It's supposed to be a result of what you do to try to clean up. The laws are already in before they can even do about crack. This was all a part of the same system. Because later on, this melanin would become the basis of all new medical research and neuro and medical research. Everything is going down right now is going down based on melanin. That's it.
Because they understand melanin is the key to it.
Melanin is the key. They got new research where they taking stroke victims and putting they say hormones back in the brain that they so-called lose, and their arms and stuff start working, hands straighten out. All that's based on melanin neuro research. You see. We're talking about just about 98% of everything they're even interested in now, of a cure-all or anything with medicine, has got something to do with melanin on the backs of black people. On the backs of black people. Now, going right along. So, your modern melatonin and melanin program started somewhere in the late 1800s and ended up into basically using black people for cattle to store up all of this particular melanin. That's the modern aspect of it. Even in this book called The Black Sun, they talk about how the skull and bones ingest live pineal glands to get this high. It's also in the movie Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, where they're looking for the perfect high, and they go on this high. They go on this in Las Vegas. They go on this journey to get the perfect high, and at the end of the movie, the guy finds the perfect high because they feed him a live pituitary gland. And man, he just literally, the whole room is just covered in feces and stuff. They literally rip a doggone hotel room into it, and order to clean it up, they probably have to put a bomb in it. It's in the movie Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas with Johnny Depp. With Johnny Depp. So your Viagra, which is the new stuff, is all created from melanin. And I told the people back in '99 that the Viagra was melanin, and later on we found out that in the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, this November, they announced that these guys, they was injecting in their for skin disease, melanoma, trying to inject melanin in their skin. They came down with heightened sexual arousal and stuff like that. So Viagra is melanin. You see what I'm saying? Which is all the new stuff. Just about all the new medicine. They found out they can have the super atom. And the super atom actually works. As a matter of fact, do you know that the ancient word for melanin in what is called Zoroastrianism, which is in ancient Persia, the ancient word for melanin is the word drug. The word comes from text called Zoroastrianism. And the word for melanin means drug. So when they say drugs, they were talking about substitution for the most ancient high, tapping into the actual melanin. You see what I'm saying? Tapping into the actual melanin, which can be done by drinking large amounts of water. because water goes into the body and it mixes up the actual melanin to the point where as you can actually get high off of water, providing you hit some of the most potent melanin down in the gastrointestinal tract. And I cleaned out. I drank, like I said, I drank 3 gallons of water a day for 4 days. And after the 4th day, I was able to time travel, go throughout time, smell smells, as well as drink a glass of water in the morning and get high. And for all of 1996, I used to get high off of water, but I was cleaned out. You know what I'm saying? Based on that much water going through the central nervous system, the melanin would line up and I would get high. You see what I'm saying? So water has something, you know what I said in the beginning of the lecture, that you had this cosmic thirst. You had this carbon, and it was had a liquid to it, and the liquid was actually split in half or separated by the younger entities, and one became the ocean and one became the blackness of space. But when you put it together, the water, you get that same mercurial elixir. Put that together with the water. That's why water is key to all of your ancestors in libation. You see what I'm saying? In libation. So let's get a few other things on the modern aspect, and so we can go on into the esoteric aspect again. Put a little more into the modern aspect of this particular thing.
Before you go on, Bobby,
Yeah.
let me ask you one question
Yeah.
about earlier lecture you did on counterfeit spirits or counterfeit race of black people.
Yeah.
How does that tie in with the masses that we see today that we might call brain dead?
Okay, very good question. Excellent question. Because the text is found in the Nag Hammadi Library. In the text called the Apocalypse of John, and in something called the Tractate Tripartite, in the same Nag Hammadi Library, finally translated in 1977, scholars by the name of Elaine Pegos and several other scholars, but edited by James Robinson. But in those two texts, and especially in the Apocalypse of John, they talk about counterfeit spirits. Well, the first thing when I read this, I immediately thought about the white man, because he would actually be a counterfeit spirit, but he's a later version of it. But the text is talking about counterfeit spirits far long before the white man ever got here. Way earlier, before the white man ever got here. They even talk about as far back as the first humans being on the earth. And they talk about these original gods taking form on the earth, and immediately jealous entities in heaven creating counterfeit spirits to throw off the true beings. So this causes problems, because at that particular time, wasn't no other races on the earth. So that means there's a counterfeit spirit black person. And in so many words, who might have been allowed to live in mass is the counterfeit spirits. And the true beings were slaughtered. The true beings, first of all, kept in poverty. Kept isolated, slaughtered for cattle and for experimentation and consumption. And the counterfeit spirits allowed to roam America. But yet, only a few of us survived. Well, this is not strange because the Bible talks about that. The remnant, the elect. Something is up. Because in a time when it is forecast, even in Valencia Scranton's book, second chapter on Saturn and the conjunction of Saturn, second book, chapter on Saturn and the conjunction of Saturn, which would be Capricorn. In that chapter, they talk about how in the last days, both people will be, awareness would come back to the people. In Vera Stanley's Adler book, Awakening the Third Eye, she's taking a text from a passage from a book called The Rosicrucian Cosmos Conception. Real racist book, but nevertheless, it's Rosicrucian Cosmos Conception, where they talk about in the last days the pineal glands will open up and the awareness would come back to the original people. Also, your boy Edgar Casey said that the last days there will be an incarnation of an avatar called John Pineal, which is talking about the pineal gland, opening up, the third eye. So we're supposed to have more people aware now than we do. You see? Now, New York, you might have a great turnout. You had to keep putting chairs out there. And you got the UAM. But when you think about it, you get caught in the illusion that consciousness is growing. But you got whole states, Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, Arkansas. You see what I'm saying? Florida, most of Georgia, Tennessee, most of New York. The whole country where people don't know their behinds from a hole in the ground. Dumb as a damn stump. And have no clue. You hear the movie Clueless? Yeah. Good movie. I'd be damned if you look at the movie Clueless, which is supposed to be high school students. Now it's just crazy to look at the movie Clueless and then analyze black people. And you'll see they ain't going to be no different than the 9th and 10th grade people in Clueless and black people walking around as babies, doing their thing, which ain't about nothing. You see. So the counterfeit spirit that you're talking about could very well be what is most of the stuff that's left. There's only a few of the true beings left. Now, Joseph Cipollone, in several of his books, forecast this 15 years ago when he wrote Making Sense of the Madness, Death of an Evil God, Basic Gnostic Truths. And he talked about all these counterfeit spirits and stuff, which he also, but basically he got the idea of the first thing that made him inquire even into this even more was those Nag Hammadi texts. And those Nag Hammadi texts. And even since then, they must have made him a counterfeit spirit because on his website now, he ain't really talking about nothing like he was going strong in 98 and 97. So, the counterfeit spirit thing is a reality. They literally kill off the true beings. They kill the true beings off. You see, because this is ridiculous where nobody knows nothing. We are world-class people. We don't, and the thing about it is what's such a dichotomy here is we don't have a problem performing at all for the white man. You know what I'm saying? The white man tell you to build that camera, you build that camera and build it better. But yet we can't get nothing black. That has to be a counterfeit spirit. You are fundamentally black. And you don't want nothing to do with your own essence. But yet everything to do with, if the white boy come up, we see it. Whatever that white boy comes up with, that's what we gonna be.
Can you kind of give us an image or an insight, and perhaps you may want to use the Green Mile, John, as a prototype of what spiritual black people should be like or capable of, and just to propose that.
Okay, two good movies that came out. You saw, what was my man name in the movie?
John?
Wasn't it John Palmer? What was his name?
What was it by?
John Candy?
No, the one who did all...
Green Mile. The black man. I can't remember, but anyway.
John Coffey.
John Coffey. John Coffey said he just knows. In the Green Mile, when they asked him where were they going, he said, I'm going to see this woman. He said he just knows. But if you get the movie, The Phantom Menace, that's the last Star Wars movie. It wasn't one of the best Star Wars movies they had, but when they asked him what was chloramidium, he said it were microscopic organisms that's in the body that tell us all of who we are and what the universe is like. They are extraterrestrial civilizations, microscopic organisms in the body. They tell us who we are. Those same things are called Damians, and they're intelligence. You just know. You have awareness, and it comes to you when you're in trouble, when you sense people who ain't right. You see what I'm saying? You just know. That's because those intelligence are in you, telling you. You know what I'm saying? You know some dangers getting ready to happen. You know something funky getting ready to go down. You just know that it might be the wrong person you don't want to see. Because the Spirit has already told you. Those microscopic organisms, and here's also a picture of Pastor Beverly Randolph, which is the father of metaphysics.
Now, is this the black man you said?
The black man.
Let me get a closer. Because from a distance he looked kind of white.
Well, you know how that goes here. How many Negroes you know look like that? You know what I'm saying?
I know a lot of them.
You know a lot of them. He just didn't have no afro. You know what I'm saying? He had the 1800s process. You know what I'm saying? But he lied enough. That's what they call that good hair.
He got that same look as Shakespeare and other early.
But look at his nappy beard, though.
Yeah.
The good hair down there. And Lincoln, hell, he was Lincoln's boy.
Look like Lincoln, too.
Pastor Beverly Randolph, father of metaphysics, of Western metaphysics. Now, but in the book Goetia, you talk about this all the time. These seals that you talk about here are the same microscopic organisms or Damians, which is nothing but melanin, because these seals are called Sinocosh, that is located in the third eye. The body has 7 chakras. Within the third eye, it has 72 chakras. And these 72 chakras of these seals are what is called Damians, which is legions of 10,000 each. And there's 30 different legions each. And legions is 10,000, so we're talking about millions. This is all inside of us and inside of the melanin, going even deeper. Microscopic organisms and intelligence that let you know. You see? And although you have white people that psychic, that's just a residue, because this thing is far beyond just a sense of awareness. You see what I'm saying? This thing can actually take over the body and will take over the body and is going to take over the body and wear it like a damn spacesuit. and take charge. There are devices that will come online. That's the same thing why they say they will reduce Europe to a chaotic state where no man is left to tell the tale. Well, in the book, Kundalini for a New Age, Golden Christian, there are devices that will come online that will destroy everything if it is openly confronted with danger. That's why they have to confront us secretly. Yeah. Sometimes they throw it off by getting a damn black cop. Throws the body off. Now the black man busts in your head. So you can't function. That's the magic behind the black police officer. You see? It throws the body off. You can psychologically regroup, or you can psychologically deal with the white man because you have identified him as the enemy historically, up until recently. But what about a black man knocking you over the head with a billy bat? Or the black judge giving you the doggone sentence? Or the black lawyer fucking you over? You get how this thing goes? That's the throw off stuff. So they get them Negroes to do the business. Or some old black Uncle Tom on TV talking shit about black people. So the whole thing takes a whole psychological vacuum to shut down the true beings by confusion. Because it's not the white man no more that's doing the most ridiculous things. It's the black man, which they are counterfeit spirits. Get it? It's all based on melanin wars. Because we're dealing with intelligence to shut down that. You see, it's all based on melanin wars. And we're dealing with the intelligence. So, let's get into this time, because this is key right now to put on this tape. Because there's a brother down in Atlanta, Georgia named Minister Ross, and he convinced his followers that music like blues and jazz and funk and rock and roll is negative. Because they were made at a time when people either were at a low state. And the most high form of music is classical. And we know that classical, the scales came out of Kemet. We know that. We know that Beethoven was black. But this book, Mark Balfour's book, The Sign and the Seal, is called Creative Physics. Melanin is always in a state of change. Remember I talked about that at the beginning of the lecture? And creative physics. That means it creates under any condition. And it creates under the worst conditions. Now, the word music comes from the word muses. And the word muses, you get the word muses, water nymphs, muses, mermaids, metal fiends. All of these is little mythical creatures that you're thinking, even elves, guardians, that you're thinking is actual literal creatures out here. These are nothing but mythological names of these microscopic organisms we call the Goetia, these seals. So muses is nothing but the same Davians. It is not music coming from the heavens. It is music comes from the inner archetypal subconscious mind called a mentor. Amen, land of Amen, the hidden land. Muses are these same microscopic organisms called melanin. Now we'll document this because they say, he said the scales come out of Egypt, but he don't have enough scholarship to understand. You ask him, can you explain to me how it came out of Egypt? He couldn't tell you. You see? He probably, one of the few people that mentions it is Raul Nefer Amen. That's where a lot of people get it from. But and a few other scholars and stuff, but they don't know. If you ask him, give me the origin of how it came out of Egypt or kill it, he couldn't do that. I can. That's how I know that this is some bullshit, because I can make the link and I can state the case based on the research. Now, we trace the origins of music back to the priesthood of On, the Hermetic school. And Hermes is the Greek god Tahuti, the Greek form of Tahuti, and Tahuti is the god of magic and knowledge. In so many words, melanin comes out of the school of alchemy, because also the priesthood of Tahuti was the study of alchemy, because the study of alchemy is under the study of Hermetic sciences. So the Hermetic sciences is where the origin of music comes from, and the word muse later on, the Greek version of that, which could very well be Canaanite version, is talking about Hermetic sciences, and in so many words, it is melanin put to scale. You see? And it comes from the Hermetic science. Well, Dutch man on his ass, Hermetic Gnosticism and Hermeticism, State University of New York, 1997. We even have documentation on this shit. Now, music is an inner surface of coming from the melanin. And it is a medicine. That means when you go to a low point, this human microscopic organism creates a medicine to heal you when you are at your lowest point. And that medicine is whatever music you create to heal yourself. So the most powerful music is not the one you create when you are not in tragedy. It is the one you create when you're at your lowest point, because that's the one you got to use to lift your ass up. So jazz, funk, blues is higher than the classical shit. You see what I'm saying? Of the Europeans. But even Beethoven was not in no doggone funk. Like no muddy water, goddammit.
That's right. This water wasn't muddy.
You see what I'm saying? There's a difference. That's why they studied us, and they studied us, especially in the 70s, when they was putting scunion on our behinds, in the 60s and the 70s, and we tend to come back to work healed on Monday morning. All because we were living for the weekend, and we were healing ourselves through our doggone tunes. Why? Because we had an album, which is an original recording, which grooves in it. I talked about this before. But you also, which is cooked down to because most rubber, most plastics and stuff is white. To get that blackness on it, you got to cook it down to the most carbon form, because it's not dyed. They cook it down. You see what I'm saying? That plastic there is cooked now. That's not a dyed plastic. They cook that plastic down from a white liquid, because it's clear. They cook it down, and that when you cook something down, you make the most carbon element in it. That's what ash is. You see ash in the Bible and all these things, that's another. That's carbon. 6 protons, 6 electrons, 6 neutrons. So they cook this, the black plastic disc down, but it has a recording on it, which is actually, you can feel the grooves. Then you have a needle, which is a diamond. And a diamond is what? Pressurized carbon. And from that, black people was healing themselves. From them 45s. You see, in them albums. You see what I'm saying? And as a result, they had to get rid of that and put a hologram, which is laser. It's a hologram, it's an illusion. But the melanin was responding to our music. We couldn't get it live, we could still get it either way. But it was the music which was the main medicine for black people. We always had good music up until lately.
Champion.
That's why rap is not a healing form. That's why I Puff Daddy and make them $100 million. They're producing something that's not a healing form. And we now have produced children who have never heard real music. You see? Just a few. You know what I'm saying? So therefore, they found a way to shut down the doggone melanin. You see what I'm saying? I'll keep it dormant because it is these tunes that the pituitary gland responds to produce the amount of melanin for the body. The pituitary gland regulates the melanin. And based on the highs and lows of the bass and the treble, in a unified form, they produce whatever type of melanin you need. A certain melanin for at night, the nocturnal level of slow music, and a certain one for the high, when you want to get on up. So they recognize this, but it is the muses and the drums. Because the drum, it is not the beat. It is the spaces in between the beat, which is the nothingness, that bring you into the other dimension. Drum gives you the ability to hear the nothingness, the spaces in between the beat. And it is the spaces in between the beat is what you hear. The gods are responding to the spaces in between the beat because it opens up a doorway that they can come through based on the drum or the bass, which is still percussion. It is the spaces in between the beat which gives you the other dimension coming through. You see? So clearly, our classical music of the 20th century is the most healing form that crackers all over the earth is benefiting from now. But we got Puff Daddy. You see, and DMX and Juvenile and all these idiots. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, you got a little Bow Wow for the little children. You see, this thing is off the hook.
Yes, it is.
You see. Going right along. Melanin is connected with dreams because melanin, in actual fact, is sleep. That's what melanin is. How the hell you think they can take melanin out of you and put it in a white person and the white person fall asleep? Melanin is sleep. Sleep is melanin. You want to enhance more melanin? Get more sleep. Or you want to really enhance it, it's not the kind of sleep you get, it's not how much sleep you get, is what kind of sleep you get. And the key here is like in Upanishad say, when a person gets to go into deep sleep, he goes to his own. That's why you even take you some valerian root. But if that don't work, they got something called a blue pill. We take the white man drugs anyway. They got something called a blue pill, unison. And it does the trick. Key is not to take it every night because that would make you dependent on it. But whenever you want to jump into something or you want to be healed, sometimes you're just feeling bad. The melanin can heal you, but you have to go into a deep sleep. What you think happens when a person gets shot up and they go and they say he needs his rest? Nigga waking up, he be healed, but he be like, hell, you've been out for 3.5 weeks, nigga. That's because it is the melanin, which is the sleep and healing, but you got to go into the deep sleep. So sometimes the healing is the deep sleep. Because what happens is your soul and your spirit combined can heal itself provided it gets enough sleep that it can actually take the microscopic organisms and synthesize them to heal, and they can go to work. But you have to go deeper into a deeper sleep. So the key here is Korea stops the melanin. Because you can't never get no damn sleep.
That's right.
That's it. You got to go to work. You know what I'm saying? But you got it. But it's hard now because Yeah, the ancients used to get up at 4 o'clock. Your grandma and them used to get up at 4 o'clock. But it's hard now because you got bright lights, you got TV, you got them old crazy ass children, them toys. Everything. Worrying over money too. Unwanted Negroes stopping by your house. It ain't assets, they liability. High maintenance niggas. High maintenance niggas stopping by. That has long been stopping by to borrow a cup of damn sugar. You see, that would be simple. You see, if it ain't no money because you ain't got no money, but they damn sure will hell out you. You see. So sleep is melanin. That's why in the movie Matrix, Last Fishburne, the black man was called what? Morpheus. Morpheus is the god of sleep. And through him all things happen. Because Neo was in the Matrix, the day world, or the waking world, which is the illusion. It was only when he went into the sleep, because he met up with Morpheus, and Morpheus showed him something out of the Matrix. That's the only time you leave the Matrix is when you go to sleep. And then you have dreams, which is what you have outside of the Matrix. Sometimes it explains the Matrix, but sometimes it's some stuff that you're not even aware of. Hell, you might get it back 2-3 years later. So they might have to think about this thing here. But it is Morpheus who is the god of dreams. The Christ, Shiva, is called the Lord of dreams. You go all over Asia and you'll see, in India, you'll see the sleeping Buddha. The sleeping Buddha. The word sleeping beauty comes from that whole aspect. You see. You'll see the sleeping Buddha. But Shiva is the god of sleep. And I explained the other night that Shiva is the prototype of the god Horus or Heru. No, Shiva is the Indian prototype of Heru and of the Egyptian Heru. And Egyptian Heru is the prototype of Jesus Christ. You see. But even then, you sleep in your tomb. Osiris sleeps in his tomb, sleeps in the underworld. Dracula sleeps in the coffin, which is the sarcophagus. He wakes at night. That means he is the god of dreams. He is the god of sexual pleasure. Because night sex is always better than day sex. You get in where you fit in, but night sex is special. You know, that's when you can really make love. So Dracula is popular with the honey. Osiris got 2 chicks on the side of him. Isis and Nephthys. Later on translated into Jesus at Bethany, where he got Mary Magdalene and Mary. You see, but Isis is also Osiris' lover, his sister, and sometimes his mother, based on mythology, which is just talking about all aspects of the divine feminine. But Jesus at Bethany, Beth means house, and Ani means Anubis. And Anubis is the god of melanin. Because guess what else melanin is? Melanin is called crushed death.
What?
It's called crushed death. That's what melanin is. Well, what is death? Well, I told you that the great mother Tiamat died, and her blood was used to make human something left behind. Melanin is crushed death. Now let's get real funky. Guess what melanin also is? Melanin in the Greek language is called Hades, which is hell. And the Lord of hell is Satan. Guess what Satan is? Melanin. Soot, which means black. On, which is Anubis, Ani, the black opening, black hole, black dot. Soot on, Satan, which means melanin. Something left behind. Tiamat fell. Lucifer falls. They said it. Sorcery is evil, but sorcery translated in Kemet is alchemy, which is the study of melanin. So literally, we worship against ourselves. So Satan and Jesus, or Satan and the Christ, is one and the same. Christos means what? Anointed one. Anointed with what? Olive oil. In Christianity, it's crocodile oil, crest. In Kemet, olives are what? Black and green. The carbon in the olive and even the chlorophyll in the greenness is all a part of carbon. All that stuff is the damn same. That's why you'll see Osiris as a green god. But then they say he's also the god of the perfect black. But in Kemet, Horus is anointed with crocodile oil. The crocodile is known as the crocodiles of Kim. And Cam is black. He's standing on crocodiles. You see. So, Christos, the anointed one, is melanin. But it's not with oil. What is oil? Oil is nothing but liquid carbon. All this shit is alchemical. You see, it's alchemical. So Satan and Christ is one and the same. It's two polarities of the same thing. You got this triple blackness of space and this substance called melanin, and through that will give birth to a dancing star, which is the Christ, Christos. It's the transmutation of the triple blackness of space, which is melanin. You see. Going deep into this particular stuff. So Hades is synonymous with Hermes. And Hermes is the Houthi, which is the study of alchemy. The burning hell. Well, what burns in the body is the Kundalini energy, baptized by hellfire. The root chakra that's down here is also hell. And the root chakra is where this hellfire shoots up and hits the pineal gland or the black dot. The hell's fire. You see? Raises up Satan in hell. All this stuff is talking about what is called the underworld mysteries or the dark side mysteries, which in actuality is the study of blackness, and alchemy, which is the study of melanin. Moving right along. There's a sphere of the Kabbalah called dark, which is the sphere of melanin. It is also the third eye. It's also represented as the star Sirius. In its astronomical phase, is represented as the star Saturn in its astrological phase. But dark and the word death, one and the same. But what is death? Death is not the death that we know it is. It is the crown jewel. It is just that thing outside of the body that we can't comprehend. But they said, as eons go by and death make eternal lie, with strange eons, even death will die. That means that it's going to give birth to a new light. You see, so dark, that's why you get Darth Vader, who wears all black. He represents melanin. Luke Skywalker represents the light particle of the Christ, or the light coming up out of darkness. You have to have darkness to produce light. So Jesus comes to Satan. He's only the process of the light being born from Satan, switch on the black opening or the black dot or the melanin. This is scientific. That's why using the yin and the yang symbol, you'll see the black side, you'll see a little white dot in that, and you'll see the white side, you see a little black dot in that. One is the other. You see, it is not evil in the aspect of wicked. It's light. Darkness is nothing but a turned light. That's why Isaiah 45 chapter 3 says, I will give you the treasures of darkness. You see, give you the treasures of darkness. Okay. You even see in the Bible they talk about, okay, one right along. Let me see what else. Let me see. Checking it off as we go.
You going to change tapes?
Yeah, we're going to read.
I'm about ready to change tapes.
Okay, see what we got left. Well, on that one. Now they talk about 6 virgins. 3 stupid virgins who don't have no oil. And 3 virgins who have this oil. And the 3 stupid virgins say, we asked the 3 wise virgins to give them some oil. And they say, no, we can't give you no oil. We won't have no oil for ourselves. That oil is melanin. So the virgins who don't have the oil is white people. The pale person. So they say, we can't give you oil because the oil, we won't have enough for ourselves. So they say, what? They have to go off and look for oil. Whenever they go off to look for their oil, Christ comes, or the doorway comes to open up, and they step into heaven. And the other ones are left without any oil. I guess they get burned up or whatever. But that's in the Bible as this particular oil. The word sama, the Hindu word, which means a plant, but it's also talking about King Sama, where they say not only is King Sama the king, Sama is what is needed for one to become a king. Because the original word king comes from the stuff called the Enuma Elish, which is ancient African documents that talks about Tiamat's husband, who was killed also and humans turned into, was called Kingu. Kingu. And the word king means melanin in the blood. It's because the king, the color for king is purple, and purple is royal and royalty. And it's talking about the melanin inside of the black melanin inside of the red blood in alchemical terms, which gives you blue blood or gives you purple, which is melanin. So crackers cannot be king. That's why Jesus is called King of Kings, Lord of Lords, which is copied from the book of Coming Forth by Day, or the book of the Day, where Horus is King of Kings, Lord of Lords. So the word king or royalty means melanin. If you have melanin, you are royal. That's what this whole thing to these crackers is from. They cannot be a monarchy because they don't have the bloodline. And the bloodline that these crackers are talking about, the bloodline of the God is melanin. You see. So that royal, which is purple, you also see it in the movie The Phantom. Not Phantoms, but The Phantom. Both movies about melanin. The Phantom is Osiris, avenging the father's death, played by Billy Zane. Then you have the movie Phantoms, which this black substance, this hydrocarbon, takes over the town. But in the movie, when it gets into the black man, he says, write the story. Look at my skin. And write the story. Bear witness to my skin or something. It was the black man which was talking about this melanin in the movie Phantoms, Dean Koon's Phantoms. But both movies, The Phantom, which is the ghost, the Holy Ghost, which is melanin. All this stuff is breaking that back down to the actual melanin. Melanin in ancient Atlantean terms is called Zevo. Or Zero, where you get the word zero from, which you get the circle or the black dot. From the nothing comes the absolute. It comes the absolute. Going right along. Anytime you hear the ram, the lamb, all of this is talking about the golden fleece, the ram, the lamb of God is also a form of melanin. Melanin is also called rasa in India. And rasa is this substance that always has to change. And once it is activated, it can never go back to its original substance, or you catch unholy hell. In Kabbalah, it's called the dew of life. Also in the Bible, they talk about let thy dew be thy dew. And that dew is when the water hits the melanin. It's called the dew of life. And what happens is this. The pineal gland, it pumps melanin, but it has a deposit and a build up around the pineal gland. And when you drink the water, and the water illumines the body and bathes the brain, it breaks up those particles in the pineal gland, and you start to get drunk. You start to see visions and all, if you can loosen that stuff up with actual water. The movie Strange Days is talking about melatonin, where they jacked into a person's consciousness with this device, and they see what this person is seeing with this device. And they can see the person's thoughts, the person's whatever happened to the actual person. Well, that actually happens with melatonin. They steal the memories from people. That's what happened with me one night when I took a melatonin pill, and I actually experienced the guy who got killed. And I woke up in the bed and hollered, and then whatever it was that killed that melanin, it registered the time he got killed. Because melanin is what? A cosmic memory. Cosmic computer. There's a whole book called Cosmic Memory by Rudolf Steiner. But that's in the movie Strange Days. It's talking about the same thing. There's a word called, there's a hero called Melanion, who wins a famous race in a place called Atalanta. That's in the Greek mythology. There's the word Melos, which means black foot. All of this word Mel is a Greek word, which means black foot. Jacob wrestled with the angel until daybreak, which means night. And at daybreak, which was the light came through, he saw what? The face of God, which was called what? Pineal. The god Horus in Greek is called hero, and hero means great face. What great face? The pineal gland, which is called Lucifer, that lights up the darkness. Pineal gland. Sheba seduces his women in what is called the pine forest. What it's called because he has a advanced level of melanin. Unicorns in mythology with the horn. That horn in mythology is also mentioned in the Bible of the horn, and that is the pineal gland, the pituitary gland, and the thalamus gland. There's 3 glands in the head. There's 3 stars in Orion's belt, 3 pyramids, 3 pyramids in the Giza Plateau, 3 crosses on Calvary, 3 wise men. All this is talking about the pineal body in the head, 3 major glands. 3 major glands. Like I said, the clitoris is the identical pineal gland that the woman shares. It's almost identical in the same aspect, which is closer to the real aspect that the pineal gland is a feminine entity ultimately, because the clitoris is almost identical. Good movie to understand the mysteries of melanin and the power is a movie called Bram Stoker's Shadow Builder, which deals with this whole melanin thing as a black smoke that wreaks havoc on this town, that was brought about by a major ritual. Menstrual blood is a release of melanin, highly melanated. Documented also in the book Dragon Time. The book called Dragon Time. documented in that particular book. The word Rock of Ages is also the philosopher's stone, the stone that the builder reject will become the doggone cornerstone. You know, Rock of Ages, all this stuff here. Now let's go into a few documentations of this whole melanin thing, and then we're going to go into a question and answer. This is some stuff that's key and simple. First of all, in this book, Your Whole Body Natural Defense System, I need to talk about certain appliances that shut down melanin. The fan, can opener, electric shaver, vacuum cleaner, electric massager, hair dryer, microwave oven, electric pencil sharpener, power saw, electric drill, cartridge drill, television, portable heater, electric range, copy machine, fluorescent light, computer monitor, computer, and baby monitor. Basically, in so many words, all electrical appliances. That's why we live in an electric world that the white boy understands completely shuts down the actual melanin. Things melanin, high in melatonin foods: oats, sweet corn, rice, ginger, tomatoes, bananas, barley. Foods rich in tryptophan, which taps into melanin. Spirulina, soy nuts, cottage cheese, chicken liver, pumpkin seeds, instant breakfast, turkey, chicken, tofu, watermelon seeds, almonds, peanuts, brewer's yeast, malted milk, ice cream, yogurt. Well, we know some of this is not supposed to be good for consumption, but still yet they're talking about what is high in tryptophan, which also taps into the actual melanin. Of all known ways to stimulate melatonin production, none is more dramatic than smoking marijuana. Stimulates production of prostaglandin called PGE2, which relates to the ability to stimulate melatonin production. The Italian researchers discovered that when 8 men smoked a cigarette containing active ingredients of marijuana, they had dramatically high melatonin levels 20 minutes later. And after 2 hours, the melatonin levels were 4,000% higher at its baseline. The fact that smoking marijuana is accompanied by a dramatic increase of melatonin production may explain some of the drug's positive effects. In 1995, an article in the Journal of American Medical Association reports that the hallucinogenics is being used to counteract toxicity. Chemotherapy treats migraines and reduce the intraocular pressure of minized pain, whatever it is these words are, and treats menstrual cramps. Well, I don't know, you all can tell that or whatever, and moderate wasting syndromes in AIDS patients or whatever that is and stuff. Wasting syndrome, they must shit a lot or whatever. Melatonin has been known to, has been known to actually control each one of these conditions. Smoking melatonin as a vehicle to increase smoking marijuana as a vehicle to increase melatonin production, however, may not be a good idea. The increase is so marketed that I'm losing my place here. Mark, that it is not likely to be beneficial, especially if one smokes marijuana during the daytime, when melatonin levels are normally low. that they are just above the levels of detection, causing such dramatic surges of melatonin levels at daytime could phase shift and shift of rhythms, and also interfere with health, with your health, in other yet unknown ways. But anyway, it's still talking about the levels of melatonin levels and stuff. So I guess one of the main things is the smoking at night, or whatever the deal is, whatever the deal is and stuff like that and all. But then again, this particular book deals with that, your own body's natural defense system also. Now, book Alchemy Unveiled says that human beings can only be, excuse me, I gotta slow down now. Human beings can not only, but must be born again and led back into the primal material. So there's alchemical terms called the primal material. The Saul Niger or Saul nigger. The nigrus nigrum. All this is called the blackening stage in alchemy, which is melanin. You see, which is melanin, you know, the primal material. So it says human beings a human being cannot only, but must be born again and be led back into the primal material of which he comes forth according to his astral nature. Well, if you have a certain astral nature, which you come from the primal material, which means you got melanin, and according to your astral nature, which means that some people don't have this based on whatever in that astral nature is. The Son of Man must be exalted, can be exalted, he must be humble. Therefore, he can ascend to heaven. He must walk 3 days in hell. That's Matthew 12:40. This condition of hell is called the condition of the alchemical blackness, the central darkness, and that extends over 3 days and nights and through the total blackness of 40 days. Even Jesus remained for 40 days in hell after his resurrection on earth before ascending to heaven. Therefore, you must go through the gate of darkness if you want to reach the paradise of light. This is talking about melanin. Going right along. Two other things. Melanin is also called ojas. Ojas is specifically occult sense highly radioactive magical energy. Hence, it is the relevance of a new sexual magic that facilitates traffics with the other one, or the outer one, hence the great old one, and hence the relevance, the relevance to the mutations of the mutants now beginning to manifest on terrestrial level. This is not talking about the white mutant, this is talking about a higher level of consciousness. Other thing in melanin, this particular thing coming from Gertrude Schroding's Kabbalah, which is very profound. At opposite poles, both man and God encompasses in their being the entire cosmos. However, whereas God contains by all virtue of being its creator, its initiator, whom everything is rooted, all potentiality is hidden, man's role is to complete the process as being an agent through whom all powers of creation are fully achieved and made manifest. Whereas what exists seemingly in God unfolds and develops as man. But it says in the bottom of his statement that the only way that this can be done is by a Neoplatonic formula. Neoplatonism comes from Hermeticism. Hermeticism comes from the wisdom of Tahuti. And Neoplatonic formula is melanin. And that is the only way that you can complete this particular aspect of God. Moving right along. A few other things we got to deal with. We have to deal with. Do me one thing. Give me
we're running.
Okay, all right. We're back. A few other things to finish up with. Number one, this is the original version of the melatonin pill before they took these off of the actual labels. This is the original version right here.
How were they making it? Where were they getting the melatonin?
Well, this is what it says right here. Melatonin is a protein constituent of pineal tissue. So that means that they were crushing up the pineal glands, as they say, but they were literally using all aspects of melanin. They were getting it from humans, because it says here pineal tissue, and all. So that was one of the original ones right there. Another thing here is, oh man, I didn't have this on. Let me just see, you know. Another thing here is that this particular memo that came down starting in '96, where they talked about how the government is buying out black funeral homes. That is because they wanted to get as much melanin as they can with these black funeral homes. They can't be sending melanated people to the grave without getting a certain amount of melanin from them. You see what I'm saying? Remember I told you also too that the worst thing we can do right now is be an organ donor.
Right.
Because if you're an organ donor and the first thing happens, number one, not only your organs, but if you get hurt and you're an organ donor, a person who gets hurt and not one, they will more than likely kill you because you're an organ donor and you consented to it just to give that white person your organs and stuff. Whereas the other one and stuff, they might let live. So this is one thing also too. But but they don't want to send highly melanated people to the grave, especially if they're true spirits and they attract them. They need that melanin. So therefore, these white funeral homes are being bought. These black funeral homes are being bought out by white people. When we tap into melanin, we go to something called dreamland. Dreamland is an alternative dimension access to a person through their dreams. Early in life, most people can enter into dreamland at will. That's why your children have nightmares and stuff, because they can go to dreamland at will. But as adulthood approaches, the gateway closes for the majority of the dreamers. Only a few adults have been able to enter into the dreamland, again, through the use of certain narcotics and simply by dedicated dreaming. Well, I know that Unison makes you dream like crazy. The blue pill. Some spiritual portholes exist between dreamland and the waking world. Some spiritual portholes between the dreamlands and the waking worlds do exist, but these gateways are few and often found in dangerous locales in realms. A journey to the dreamland typically begins when a dreamer is descending through the 70 steps of slumber into the caverns of the flame, and he will enter and meet the high priest, Netchesh and Kamantha. And these two priests find the dream. If these two priests find the dreamer worthy, they may continue the 700 steps into deeper slumber to be enhanced. And after avoiding the dangers of these woods, the dreamer is free to roam in dreamland. But in so many words, all people as children enter into these dreamlands, and these dreamlands are later on cut off as we approach adults, because we go into puberty and we go into what is the vanity world and get shut down on those particular things also too. A few other things. The word kala is a form of melanin. You got Russell's kala, Shakti's, Oja's kala, time, also a digit of the moon and the maker of the bright and dark four nights. Our word calendar comes from the word kala. There are 16 kalas of lunar fluids known as in terrestrial science and situated in the organisms of the human female. Hence, the word Kali, the goddess of time, and of the Kala. Time is the source of energy that empowers spacecraft. When converted into energy, Kalas appear as the power that motivates spacecraft to enable them to travel at infinite distances at a twinkling of an eye. Well, we know that those spacecraft and all that type of stuff exists, but it's not necessarily in the physical. We're talking about the spiritual. And so the spacecraft in the spiritual would be none other than these same round circles that you see in the Goetia. which is these zygotic microscopic organisms outside of the body. Outside of the body. One last thing, and then we go into a question and answer. The psychic man has always been instructed in psychic matters. They are strengthened by the work of mere faith, but do not have the perfect knowledge. They belong to the earthly church. Good conduct is necessary for them, for otherwise they could not be saved. But we spiritual shall certainly be saved, not only by conduct, but simply because we are by nature spiritual. So there ain't no such thing. If you by nature spiritual, you don't have to have no good conduct. Just as the earthly cannot participate in salvation, that means people who was only created on earth, for it is not capable of reaching it. Salvation itself is the other side. It is not capable of reaching it. And so, in turn, we spiritual cannot accept the case. No matter what actions we undertake, just as gold is placed in the mud and does not lose its beauty, but retains its own nature, and the mud can't harm the gold. So we spiritual cannot damage or loosen our spiritual nature, even if we engage in various material actions. So that means whatever you do, if you have this melanin, man has the right to eat what he wants, to screw what he wants, to kill what he wants, to steal what he wants, to do whatever. This is in the believer odds, because man is not, because we are not humans, we are gods. And this is an illusion. And whatever we partake in, we spirituals will not accept decay or destruction. It is our nature that is the salvation. It is our soul that is the salvation. It has nothing to do with what you behave, or who you screw, or what you drink, or what you smoke, or what you eat, or anything like that. It has nothing to do with that. If you are gods and ye are gods. But what is that? The God is nothing but melanin, because melanin is the blood of the gods. Here's a photograph coming from England of a black woman. You can tell she's a sister because she got that look on her face. You know what I'm saying? Like she got her hands on her damn hip. But coming out of her head is this demon-looking figure. But you see the dreadlocks, which also represent Medusa. This demon-looking thing is coming out of her head is a force that is alien to this particular realm. So it only looks like a demon in the physical realm, which is the illusion, but in the real realm, it is a beautiful beacon. Is your light a beacon? What's that mean?
It's about to cut off.
Okay. Oh.
Cut.
Mm-hmm. Is your light off? Is it cut off yet? Hmm?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, man.
Oh, what's that?
No, I just saw the light beacon. You straight?
Was it on?
I'm straight. Azrael, you good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, oh, well.
It was on? Okay.
Was it on?
Yeah, everything was good.
Oh, okay. I just want to know. That's my tape right there.
That's right. Check.
Okay, roll.
Was it on?
Yeah, it's on.
It was on the whole time?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So, this thing that you see, this demon, is only looking that way because the physical realm is the illusion. But outside of this matrix, this particular demon here is a beautiful beacon of light. And this is nothing but another indication of what melanin is, this powerful, strong force. And this is an illustration that is dealing with that particular science also. So let's go into a question and answer right quick. Because we can spend all night on melanin. Let's go into a question and answer.
Well, most people want to know how will a black man get over or out of this industrial prison and general prison and avoid extermination. Will we be able to get around it? repeat the question so that people know what you're asking.
Well, you actually said about how would the black man get out of this trouble or this industrial prison and avoid extermination. Well, he's really not avoiding extermination. But to be honest with you, I have to give you what is at the end of all world scripture, all science, and what is fundamental and quintessential to Egyptian and Canaanite belief in high science is a caterpillar does not go into a cocoon to become a cocoon or to become another caterpillar. It goes into a cocoon, the caterpillar, to metamorphosize into a butterfly, transmutate. We cannot get out of this in the physical because the physical is the cocoon and it is the matrix. It is not meant for us to get out of this in the physical. That's why nothing has worked up to now. We've been made to suffer year after year after year. That is because we were made to suffer because our task, our destiny does not lie in the physical. Been there, done that, got the damn t-shirt for millions of years. Now it is time for transformation. This is the fundamental root of all esoteric sciences and all world religions, even good old Christianity. This is an illusion, a series of events that don't exist. Enlightenment is the awareness of the unreality of existence. The Hermetic text says, is not the baby real? Is not the woman real? Is not the man real? No, they are mere appearances of what you think is real. They are only, like the Matrix say, a projected image of yourself. So therefore the illusion is not real, but the illusion is actually reality. So they say, question reality, the 13th floor. Question reality. You see. So that's what the basis of melanin is. It is a spiritual substance that will come online and will do the job, provided we come to the realization that our assignment is not to go back to ancient Egypt or not to go back to the 1930s or the 1970s. Melanin is chaos, and the laws of what is inside of our body is chaos, is where change is supreme. Chaos, in the laws of chaos, change is supreme. So we can't go back or get out of the physical or become better in the physical. Right now, the best way to become better in the physical is you go ask the white man for some money. Or go back on his job or whatever. That's not the goal here. This is not Les Brown. This is not motivation. This is fucking knowledge. And knowledge is gnosis. And gnosis is to know thyself. But what is thyself? It is God, not human. We are gods having a human condition on the way to becoming even greater than God. So this process of what we are engaging here in is not self-help. It is not how to improve your life by some reparations. It's different. And it is so precious because 99% of everybody, even is conscious, they cannot deal with anything outside of the physical. You see what I'm saying? But it is, and because it is so precious, that's why it is limited down to only a few people trying to understand that the transformation will not take place in renewing the physical. It's over. You can't graduate from kindergarten by wanting to go back to first grade or wanting to go back to doggone kindergarten. That's the way this thing goes. That's the way this thing goes. So this spiritual level is the only way out. And it's going to take place whether we like it or not. It's going to take place whether we like it or not. And we're not talking about 1,000 years from now, because we're talking about If it was healthy for us to be up here in the next damn 15 years, we'd have more conscious black people out here. We're talking about hanging on for dear life every damn day. Shit is falling down and caving in every day. And if you're in a flux of suffering, that means in actuality the doorway is closer. And that means in actuality, if you are in that, on that particular level, and niggas are, especially the conscious people, but your eyes will open and you will be troubled, but rejoice because the kingdom is here now. It's not here 15 years from now. But otherwise, we would have got the damn knowledge 15 years from now, 13 years from now. We are getting this particular information now because this particular information is supposed to go down now. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And it is going down as we speak. You see. It is going down as we speak. This is what this stuff is about. Because even if we make the argument, no, I do believe there's better times coming for black people. Well, motherfucker, show me some better times. Give me some proof. 14 million niggas in jail. Is that good times? You see what I'm saying? We make more money now than we've ever made since we've been in this country. But we're in the worst state, so it can't be money. You see what I'm saying? It can't be money. So what is it? You see, give me some type of indication, a ray of hope. I mean, who talks about hope? Jesse Jackson? Mm-hmm. And what is his solution? The Democratic Party? Voting? Marching?
He mumbles about hope.
Marching?
Did that.
What is the hope? You see what I'm saying? Some things is a no-brainer. We know what time it is, it's just that we are stubborn and we don't want to doggone bear witness and stuff because we're hard-headed, stiff-necked people that normalize Muhammad said. We know it, but the time is here now. But they said, hell, when the time is here, you won't find 4 people that'll bear witness to this shit. Any more questions?
Yeah, in the past, you've given us quite a few rituals, the brown bottle ritual, yeah, a few others, and even was Saturday's lecture was dealing with the tantras.
Yeah.
Any new information on any rituals?
Depends on what you're looking for, or what you want it for.
Well, say for instance, people having trouble on the job, like you spoke of before, or anything in general, any minor things in general, finances and stuff like that. Other than the normal type rituals that you would get in any botanica or something like that. Anything?
The best thing I can say is the one you make up yourself. Those are the most powerful ones. You know, the ones you make up yourself. Those are the ones and stuff. And why is this? Because it's good practice of becoming gods. You make the one up on yourself, make the one up yourself. You see what I'm saying? It's good practice because what you're doing is for you to even think of it, it's coming from the subconscious mind. And it is correct. You see. That's the best one you can do. Any more questions? Yeah, what's that?
Can you touch on the origin of the white man, the pale man, just briefly?
In so many words, we have all the theories out based on climate adaptability and all those particular theories, but in actuality, the only one that we can bear witness to is the ones coming from the temple of Seti I in Egypt, of a created white man called the Tamahu. Tamahu thus means the created white man, who was created by the Ruti and the Suti of East and West Africa. We have the Heraclitus of the British Museum calling them the devil and calling them miserable, grumpy people who can't talk and have a restless nature. In so many words, the origin of this thing comes from some priesthood in Africa, mainly in Egypt or whatever, or goes back as far as Atlantis if you want to deal with that and all, because that's all a part of stuff. Yet literally using alchemy and gene splicing with animal parts, just like the white man is cloning now. Literally created this particular hybrid species. You see what I'm saying? This hybrid species. And so it's the same story. It's just that it can be a little more technical. But it's the same Yahoo story. You see what I'm saying? But we have more information out here on him being created than we do this theory. You see what I'm saying? Then we do this particular theory of some people mutating in the Ice Age. You see this crazy stuff, and there's no proof that no ice gonna make a black person turn white. Hell, niggas is living in the cold now and ain't turning white. I guarantee you, your black ass go to goddamn Alaska or South Pole, your black ass will be black. 100 years from now, this is black and crusty as you ever was. You might have some ice cubes on your black nappy ass and you still gonna be black. Because we know right now can't nothing get the blackness off of you. Damn sure no ice can't do it. Most motherfuckers we see even frozen under the damn ice retain their same color. Most mammals we see under the ice retain their same color. So what is this foolishness? That the doggone nature will make a whole race of doggone mutations. A mutation is 1 in a million chance. So how the hell a mutation gonna go to the point where as this doggone a whole race of people? That's a hybrid created species. Nature does not mutate, but a 1 in a million chance. That's what a mutation is. It's so rare. Now all of a goddamn sudden we got a planet full of white people. Don't happen that way. They were created, made. You see, because mutations don't happen that often. How many damn albinos you see every day? You see, then how the hell a whole race of albinos will they spring up? It just don't happen in no form of nature. Why the hell it will happen in human, the most advanced form? They know how to wash their ass and clean their ass, and you know what I'm saying? And especially the black man, which is the most advanced ever. How the hell is this most advanced being going to mutate? You understand what I'm saying? When no other animals do the shit, which is a lesser species. You see? How many damn white apes you ever see with a whole thing of white apes?
White apes? Almost the whole planet, man. All white folks.
Yeah, all white folks and stuff. That's good. How many white rats you ever see running around your fucking house?
Yeah.
They have to literally have a laboratory to create the white rats. You see. And all for white medicine. But here it is, you can't even get a goddamn rat to mutate. Well, they got to go in and do the same gene splicing to create white rats. You can't get a damn rat, but a damn in your fucking house to mutate. You know, every now and then you see an albino roach. Probably once every fucking 30 damn years if you ever saw one.
Right.
But you got to have some damn roaches to even know about that shit. I don't have none now, but I done had a few in my day. But the point I'm trying to make, how many damn times you see some rats running around your house mutating enough to have a whole house full of white rats? And these are doggone lesser species, but all of a sudden a human, the most advanced God that can build a goddamn pyramid is going to sit up there and turn white? It's a no-brainer. And how many damn, because first of all, we didn't come from no damn apes.
Sure did.
We don't have none of our text to say that. Till I find our text say that. Damn Charles Darwin. But the key what I'm trying to say here is what advanced black people, and we've always been advanced by all of our doggone teachers, what advanced black people will see a fucking outbreak of white niggas around them, and they don't go to war and kill that shit off from the get-go when we do know that all animal species that have a doggone mutation, they kill it. Here it is, you a blue black woman having a white ass baby and you don't damn kill the shit? Some things just don't make no damn sense. But we got so much information on that till it's unbelievable. Like the Egyptians gonna build the damn pyramids, build the temples, and all of a sudden they start having white babies and shit. They don't do nothing about it. Hell, that's the dialectical opposite of your ass. And you just gonna sit up there and say, oh well?
Let it be. No, unnatural.
You know what I'm saying? And we talking about people blacker than they used to stay. You know? When Diop did the melanin dosage test, these people were 3 times blacker than him, and Diop was a black man. You see, but all of a sudden you're going to have some damn white baby. And you're going to say, okay, oh well. You know what I'm saying? We all alike.
Oh.
You know that's the rule. Any questions?
About the spray, the spraying, that we're talking about the melanin, and that melanin changed, as you said, it was chaos, so therefore will it help?
No, nothing can really damage this.
Against this, all the spraying that the government is doing on us.
Yeah, nothing can really damage the ones from the true being and stuff like that. No, melanin can heal. Pretty much now what they're doing and stuff is so diabolical until this thing is pretty much over. What's getting ready to happen is that this melanin is getting ready to mutate and create a cosmic explosion. And that cosmic explosion is going to free all the original souls from their bondage. You see, that's the basis of alchemy, is an explosion going on. When you study the text, you'll see it's no different than mixing up a whole lot of shit to make a reaction. And that's what's going to happen with the body. Now, they can come and they can upset it by shocking it into explosion, but it's going to happen anyway. You see, we are getting ready to be free because our souls are just going to release itself from the body. You see, it's going to throw this off like a soup coat. It just needed years to cultivate itself. And that's what's happening now, because we're talking about it. All it is my soul is giving you the information of what's going down. You see what I'm saying? So that's how the shit's going to go down, because we are the Alpha and the Omega. And because we ain't got no other niggas out here talking this kind of shit here, we know that this is the right and exact stuff, because we got a whole bunch of people talking the same old shit. You see what I'm saying? So, it is, and I'm not necessarily jacking my own chain, I'm just saying, what's new? What's new? You know what I'm saying? What's new information? I mean, we know there's new information on how the white man is messing us up every day. But then again, that's old news. You know what I'm saying? Let's face the fact, that's his job.
That's his assignment.
You see what I'm saying? That's his job. That's his destiny. And he does it well. You see? But if it's logical, rational, and makes common sense and is sound, that's what you throw out, because melanin is something beyond that. You see? If it makes earthly sense, get rid of it. You see? Because we're talking about something beyond that. Shouldn't God be beyond logic? We accept it when we talk about God out there. Man, there's mysteries that's unknown today.
Okay.
But why the fuck are you using logic to get out of some shit which is common? Look for that thing that is unknown to man, that is weird, and not only weird, downright ridiculous. It is that ridiculous that we need. So that is sound and rational and logical ain't working. You see? Give me some other questions.
Give me some, but I'm too sleepy.
Yep.
Saturday you touched a little bit on brothers and sisters that have to get naturalized and they have to swear in to uphold, but they look like us.
Who?
Brothers, other black people have to swear in to uphold
So they come from other
they come from
countries.
other places, and they have to get naturalized to stay in the United States.
And you're talking about like the African.
Oh, yeah.
What's the procedure and why?
Yeah. Because the white man is always trying to control them. That's the key. He's not going to let nobody come in this doggone country and rank up with us when he know that we are battered. So even the people that he bring out of the country, they're already messed up.
Mm-hmm.
They ain't nothing when they get here.
Oh.
Because they don't let the real deal people come out of the country. They're only going to let some British nigga come out of the country or some French nigga that they've already trained against us.
That's it.
And telling them that we are inferior. Or some old Arab nigga. Yeah. You see. So they can't afford to let no real deal Africans up in here. Never did. That's why you ain't never met that many of them. Every now and then you'll meet an African brother that's cool. But that's few, far and above, in between, excuse the expression. Most of them niggas don't have nothing on their damn mind. That's sad, but that's just the way it is. We're looking at reality here. We don't have no, we're looking at reality. Yeah, we turn to Africans, we understand our roots, but we ain't stupid when we see a fucking British person there. British is not Africa. And these French niggas and British niggas and Arab niggas is not Africa. So why front? They don't like us. That's the reality. They hate us. We even have to question half of the Caribbean.
They got Latin America, over
The coconuts.
Ghana and all of them. They come over.
We don't have no allies. I'm allowed to say we are the most despised and the rejected of the despised and the rejected.
What's your money from
Check.
trying to make somebody
Yeah.
get a reader?
Yep. So, is that about it?
So I guess that's about it. Clemson is sleeping and
Yep.
everybody's. I think
Video man them went to cloud nine on me.
But you did about 3 hours, which is to make a nice tape.
Nice
So
tape.
yeah, real nice tape, not too long,
Yeah. Real nice tape.
Finish up from Saturday.
Yeah.
So we're glad you came all the way to New York. We hope to have you back in the spring.
Right.
Clemson, you want to close about here? So put the camera on him? You lost your picture there.
Yeah.
Twilight hours.
Thank the ancestors too for giving you the wisdom and insight. Did a marvelous piece on the history of Melanin.
Yeah.
Wow.
All right.
Big hand for Bobby Hester.
Yeah. I enjoy being here.
Good. How are you? There's so many days of good thing you asked him that, Brother Azariah.
What?
And the question that you made, the question that you asked,